Hello everyone, it's me, Andreia. Welcome back to my show Beyond the Cover. And today I'm going to have a very special guest because it's our beloved and fantastic manager, Little Steve. Hi.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're well. It's honestly quite exciting to be on the show with you today. I'm really excited.
So today is going to be a little bit different because we are going to listen a very interesting video there from a YouTuber that says that society hates artists and still does. Now we're going to discuss about that, two of us in a different perspective. But before we decide to do that, I thought I might introduce my first gothic metal song for this week before we start to do this, and this one in particular. It's going to be different today, so no questions or comments for this week, which is fine. It's a very interesting title. I think I am pronouncing correctly. It says Sisyphus in Ecstasy. Quite a title for an artist.
Sisyphus on Ecstasy, yeah. I think that's it, yeah.
And the music is called Voulez-Voodoo. So for a bit of information, he's an American Gothic experimental music project band from 2021. And this music, there's nothing much to say because it's just all an instrumental. But I can say it has these dark wave vibes, danceable as well. Some electronic as also. I hope guys you enjoy. So, Sisyphus on Ecstasy, Voulez-Voodoo. this was Sisyphus on Ecstasy. What a name. I hope you guys enjoy the soundtrack and, just we're vibing the music and everything that really entices. Now we are going, as I really said, we're going to discuss about, again, the Society Hates Artists and Holly says, and this is by Fuzzy Culture. So we can start a little bit about the title itself. Society Hates Artists. What do you think about the title, Steve?
Society hates.
Yes, it decided. No. Why society hates artists is the title.
Oh,
and
hates
always
artists.
Yeah, and always has.
That's a really big question. That opens up a huge scenario, doesn't it? Partly because artists give us the ability to think about things, and secondly, just on a general human scale, people get jealous of what they're able to do. So, artists have the ability to give us information that we wouldn't otherwise get. So there could be that to it, from a political side, or we don't want you telling our story. And also there's a bit of jealousy as well as with their talent. So that's to be put on the spot with that. That's probably the answer to give, but it's a very interesting question.
No, yes, I thought that as well, because as myself as writing a book series, I won't say it's hate, but kind of probably a bit of an envy and a little bit of I think society misunderstands artists.
Yeah.
And what artists can contribute to society in general.
Yeah.
Because I might think, oh, you are in your room writing stuff, but you're not doing nothing, you're not going out. Yes, but I'm putting my soul, my experience, the things I see, the role in paper, which takes time, hours, effort, and editing, which is the part that the majority of artists usually struggle or don't really like to do, but is necessary.
Yeah.
But we do it because we know it's part of the process.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, society doesn't understand the effort that comes with that thing. This will be my opinion.
I agree with that, actually, because if you think about it, if you read a book and you hear that was really, really interesting, that we never think about what's gone into it, what's gone into the time to produce it, what the content's going to be, how it's been edited, is it what they're trying to achieve, have they moved away from what they... And we forget that. And there's all of that in that book, and that we read it, we go, that was amazing. But, what the producer of that has gone through to make sure it was right is not just... They don't, as you say, they don't just sit there and say it. There's a lot of hard work that's gone into it, so...
No, exactly. I agree with you, Steve. It's really hard work. Of course, for every artist. Let's be really clear. It's for every artist, for musicians, for actors as well, for radio sessions as well, because this is a form of art as well. We put ourselves out there. We go in all stuff as well. But yes, I think society doesn't really understand. And we're going to listen to this YouTuber that is a musician himself. So he produces music as well on his YouTube channel. And you're going to listen a little bit and see the stuff that he brings, which I think is very important.
Yeah.
So let's listen a little bit and see what he says.
Society has always hated artists. This hatred is not the way you think hatred really expresses itself. I mean, artists aren't being burnt in mass or being beaten up on the road. In fact, on the surface, people love to consume art. They binge TV shows, they blast music, hang paintings on their walls. In fact, people seem to love art. But the people who create the art you love, society has spent centuries making sure that these people stay powerless. Vincent van Gogh, one of the most famous painters of all time, just sold one painting while he was alive. Think about that, just one. He died penniless, alone, and convinced that he was a failure. Today his works sell for like hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever, but none of that goes to him, nor did he ever see any of this wealth. Franz Kafka, a pioneer of existential thought, was so disillusioned with what his work had brought him in his lifetime that he instructed his best friend to burn all his work after he was dead. His friend disobeyed him, and Kafka went on to become one of the most celebrated thinkers and writers of the 20th century. And even when artists do succeed in their lifetimes, they're often met with hostility. Nina Simone, one of the greatest musicians of the 20th century, was blacklisted by the US government for her work in civil rights activism. She was monitored by the FBI, driven into exile, and spent years struggling financially despite her massive influence. This isn't just all bad luck. It is a pattern. And this is a pattern that's been repeating for a long time. And let me show this to you in this video. 1.
I think this is a good moment to pause because I think you give really great examples of famous artists that people don't realize that when they create something to say, this is my soul, my hard work, people appreciate, but they don't realize how much effort it costs the artist as well.
Yeah, I mean, that got me thinking about Michelangelo. Michelangelo was an absolutely brilliant painter, but he hated the work that he did because he was being criticised. And yet now, I mean, you've just heard the story about the guy that said, burn everything when I die. And yet, you know, it's because of their belief, they had belief in themselves. It was the influence of other people. And particularly, I'm talking about the Pope with Michelangelo. He was very critical of his work. And now millions of people go to the Sistine Chapel every year to see his work. You know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, and a fascinating, it's a very fascinating thought because he's going to measure Michelangelo as well. He's going to mention him.
Good,
he's going to talk about him. And it just really strikes me odd how society doesn't really understand when they see, doesn't necessarily need a painting, but a piece of music or a piece of writing a book or even somebody in the theater acting. Not just the talent, but how they just don't maybe because it's life, I don't know, or because the society is already in this mindset of closeness to art. They just don't realize how we are moving forward, society, and how we is going to actually explain in this movie as well. You very well done, the guy. I think it's being explained very well thus far. Of the artists, they do this, but then society always says no, and this is not right, etc., etc. So,
If I could just, I don't know if people know, but I used to be an actor, and I was involved with a play called Yours, and it was about the Blitz in Liverpool. And the script was taken to many different places, and they were like, no, it'll never work. And it was given to us as a group, as a theatrical group, and we put it on. It won all kinds of awards, and was actually included in school curriculum for them to learn about it as well. And we were privileged that the author, the writer of it, was still alive, and he was so emotional about it, that this amazing product, so much so we had to run it 3 times because it was that popular. And yet all these other companies were saying, no, it'll never work. But it did.
Yeah, I think that really shows as well that I think once somebody sees their work being well done, in this case, in your case, acted, it means that somebody recognized the artist.
Yeah.
And I think in a fundamental level, we artists want to be recognized.
Yeah.
We want to see, oh, this person exists, he's doing this, I connect with this, so I will support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll support them. And just keep in mind, guys, this is going to be, even though my show is about writing techniques and literature and books, this applies to every kind of art out there, just not just to literature, as we're discussing right now. Acting, from architecture, or even, stuff like this as well. I think society really needs to see artists in a different perspective. And before we continue our video, because it's going to bring really, really good points, we're trying also to see our point of views. Unless, Steve, you want to say something extra on all of this?
No, that's fine. I mean, every piece that you're playing now, my head's running away, and... So yeah, let's hear the next bit.
So before that, I'm just going to bring again, because I just like my listeners to listen the entire track of my songs. It's going to be a Brazilian power metal band from 2019, One Angra. Carry on. Let's carry on, guys. And it was Angry. Carry on. I hope you guys enjoy. And not just metalheads out there or gothics, but everyone have enjoyed and just really say, carry on, carry on. I was just here with Steve as well. It was just say to me, oh, I'm enjoying this song, wasn't it?
Do you know what? It was really good. It was a mix for me. There was a bit of Black Sabbath in it, a bit of Whitesnake, a bit of Metallica. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I was certainly rocking my head then.
Yeah, pretty cool. Just to see you guys that it doesn't really, in the metal, it doesn't matter your age. You can just really enjoy just the way as you are. Just please keep that in mind. And now let's continue with the video that why society hates artists and always has. Now, the YouTuber is going to make his points. He's going to start with the first point and we're going to carry on our discussion.
Yeah, okay.
History repeats itself. Throughout history, artists have always been controlled by the powerful. During the Renaissance, the only way to survive being an artist was by getting a patron.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
A king, a noble, or the church. That meant your creativity or your output wasn't totally yours. Michelangelo didn't paint the Sistine Chapel because he wanted to. The Pope wanted him to paint it. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest artists of all time, spent most of his time designing war machines. Not because he loved destruction, but because he needed the money from the Duke of Milan. His genius was at the mercy of those who funded him. Fast forward to the 19th century and we had Romanticism and the idea of the starving artist. The belief that suffering is necessary for great art. That if you really love what you do, you should be willing to suffer for it. But in a way, this was never a romantic idea. It was just a way to justify underpaying the artist who lived in that time period. All under the guise of Romanticism. Let's go over some more. Charles Baudelaire, one of the most influential poets of all time, dies in poverty. Edgar Allan Poe, the father of modern horror, lived in financial ruin his entire life. Even Frida Kahlo, now considered a feminist icon, spent much of her career struggling to be taken seriously. And I don't know why, but this mindset exists solely for artists and creative thinkers. No one tells doctors to work for exposure. You'll be laughed out of the room. No one tells engineers that their passion should be the reward for their work. But to make suffering a part of someone's identity is pretty unique to artists and intellectuals. And is something that most of us have imbibed and maybe even embody. That without pain, there is no success. Why, I want to ask? Why do you, the customer, value the most poignant works of art as almost being valueless? And why do you, as a creator of it, accept that pain is a part of the process? It's a sadistic relationship, I think, that society has with its thinkers. This myth keeps artists desperate, and desperate people are easy people to exploit. This is why an artist willing to sign away work which is potentially worth millions for pennies is a patron or an investor's dream. Infinite value for minimal investment. And if you thought this would have ended a while ago, the 20th century arrived. Corporates took over the places of kings and emperors. Hollywood locked actors into brutal contracts. For example, Judy Garland, while working on The Wizard of Oz, was made to take amphetamines so that she could keep working insane hours. Record labels have always taken majority of the royalties while the artist keeps scraps. And it's basically a chokehold whether you listen to them or you're faced with failure. Prince had to change his name to a symbol just so that he could get fair compensation. Painters were told that their work had no value unless a gallery owner decided otherwise. Jean-Michel Basquiat, one of the greats of our time, whose paintings now sell for over $100 million, was seen as a street kid and never respected while he was alive. And today, streaming platforms pay musicians pennies, gigs are lowering costs, everyone is trying to squeeze the artist in 2025, while the CEOs of these companies are richer than any musician to have ever lived. Social media buries posts unless artists pay for promotion. AI models steal work to create AI-generated art without ever crediting the artists whose work they have scraped their data from. The game has always stayed the same, just the tools have changed.
And we'll stop here because he said a lot of reality of nowadays artists out there and the future it could become if society doesn't recognize that it's needed.
I absolutely agree, and the thing about Judy Garland as well, it is very, very true. I mean, they were exploited as an individual, but they weren't recognised for their talent. And she wasn't the only one. There were many of them. Shirley Temple. There was. There's known stories that they used to be fed with cocaine and heroin and everything else to keep them going. And there's many painters and creators who, in the 14 and 1500s, the same thing happened. So they were exploited for their talent, but they weren't recognised accordingly with what that talent was, you know. So many a story of some of the big, all the blue eyed, the angel girls and everything else. So they were loved, the blonde bombshells, sleeping on the floor of the studio because she had to be back up at 3 o'clock because she had to do another routine. It was just an exploitation, and it still goes on now. It's disgraceful.
No, yes, I'll agree. It still goes on right now, but I think right now, in a way, I think internet exposes everything, which is good in a part. But I still think society doesn't realize or struggling still is, because as the guy really said, corporations took off over the world.
Yeah.
With stuff they have done. If we think about it with the AI right now, as a future writer, I don't want my work to be stolen. No way. If they do that, they have to pay me back for these hours and hours I spent creating my stuff. Of course, I speak about me, but every writer speaks for themselves as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And because we think about AI can have its advantages, but not for creative work, because what it's doing is learning. As long as people use this. And I know a case, because I am studying at University of Creative Writing, and the person talked about it, that when somebody's work is stolen, people have no idea the hours you have to sketch every single page to see what was stolen. And the laws don't protect much. And it's actually I want to keep this really in mind, because it's the reality. In the British law, we have that, but it's very years ago it was made. It doesn't reflect the reality what we are seeing right now. And I think this stuff really needs to change. They need to wake up for this, because I do not agree that artists' creative work should be stolen. No way. People need to understand that takes time, and the people that put their hearts and soul on that, just to see them again to be stolen. Not to mention, it can bring to this, as we just discussed about, for the artists to be in the streets and stuff, for the cocaine. This can also bring to addiction, because the artists are putting so much of themselves. They don't recognize, and they think, okay, I have to do more. So this is like a psychological also game as well. Is going maybe psychological game is not the right word to say, but it goes to mental health as well.
I agree with that, because you mentioned a very interesting topic there, AI, and how many people who are listening to the show have bought a book for Christmas for somebody, and all you do is give them names, a little bit of information, and then it'll produce a 110-page book for you. It's like you were saying right at the very beginning, nobody understands the pressure, the stress that an artist is going through to put that together, to make sure it was right, it was heartfelt, it was good, it was a good story. This thing just produces it in a matter of minutes. And music, for example, AI is being used in movies, and it's just, there's no feeling into it. And that worries me. That really worries me, especially for people who are writers, who are artists, they're performers, even singers now. It's all AI. There's no real thing as singing anymore. So yeah, I agree.
No, the AI is everywhere right now. I know also on gaming industry as well. Many companies, Microsoft is thinking, I think, to modify a little bit of their assets, I think, inside, but then it's all for the AI. There is no for artists as well. And because gaming as well is being affected by the AI, and gamers are just absolutely mad, with good reason. Guys, press these companies to not use AI. Vote for your wallets. Absolutely do that. One example I can give is, for example, the Lawrence company, which is a relative, not an indie per se, but they they're not a triple A gaming industry. They did fantastic games, the Trinity games, the Baldur's Gate 3 recently now. The guy announced, this was a very, very backlash on internet, that, pardon me, he said they want to use AI for exploration of artists. People said, no way. You paid your artists for that. What were you thinking, man? Are you well? Are you okay? Are you okay? And then I recently said, okay, we're not going to take that. We're going to use that. At least the guy is learning. At least I'm very pleased the guy is learning, because they need to understand that once AI they say, it helps us do that, but in reality, it's going to replace later.
Yes.
Later, the hard work, the artist stuff. Because, guys, think about it, your favorite game. And I'm not speaking gaming, but of course, this is for any art out there. The artists have an idea. These people should let the artists put their ideas out. Let them time. Yes, it takes time. But I think we should be patient with that. If you want a good book in your shelf, you think it takes 1 month? That's a joke. I'm going to tell you, it's a joke.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of them have taken many years to put together, haven't they? I mean, it's not like it's AI. You put in the information and it spits it out within minutes.
Yep.
A writer is thinking constantly all the way through, and maybe changing, at the path it was going down because they realised there was something different. So the whole sort of final part of a chapter or whatever else needs to be rewritten. It's real. It's a thought process. It's not just something that comes out of the head. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes they go, right, I'm going to put that down now because, it writer's block and all that kind of stuff. Yep. And they go, I'm going to put it down because I can't think of where it's going. And they go away for quite a while, and they think about it, and then they go, actually, and then they come back to it. But it's not ended there, because as we said before, they'll go back, they'll revisit it, they'll re-edit it to make sure it's the product that they want you to see. And I'd sooner have that and know there's a human reaction behind all that, rather than some kind of robot going, well, Mary had a little lamb, we gave it a pair of wings.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy.
No, it is. And I think what's really missing right now, because I think about this perfection, we don't realize imperfection is what makes things beautiful as well. Yeah. Even if the book the people are reading right now is imperfections, embrace it. That's fine. Remember, it's the process of the writer. I am right now writing, because I put a little aside my series, but I didn't forget about it. It's because just need some extra stuff because I am on my editing phase right now on my book series. I'm just looking for feedback right now at the moment. I took back now the free radio script that I'm working on it, and I was talking with Steve with this. It was very happy for me to take that. I was going to take my time as well, but I want to make an interesting episode and see how people react to it. It's going to take me time, sure. English is my second language as well. I take that as well as a side note, but I don't get this like an excuse. Just say yes, it's my second language, but I'm trying my best as well. I receive feedback from other writers out there. In fact, I finished my first episode, and I want to receive feedback on that.
It's very interesting that you've just been saying about English being your second language. It doesn't stop the excitement of how you're feeling about what you're doing, and clearly that's what comes over in your writing, isn't it? It's about how you're feeling at the time, and it might be your second language, but you can still produce something that people can read and understand. And if you've got that passion to do it, that's perfect. So yeah, the fact that it's the passion thing, isn't it? It's about the passion of the writer rather than, if there's no passion there and you're just going to write a story for the sake of a story.
Yes, exactly. I mean, when I was doing my creative working on, it was actually one of the semester's subjects that come about script writing, which is actually about a guy, pardon me, that did an episode. But he wrote the entire Game of Thrones last episode as a radio as a podcast. In fact, it was just him rewriting the ending of the Game of Thrones last episode. It was massively well received, and not to mention to that, one of the publishers come to him and say, "Hey, we're interested in you." Simple as that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's the passion, isn't it? Yeah, I get it completely.
So now, before we go on to the second part, because the YouTuber is going to say the second part, let's now listen to our second, let me see, Spotify, there we go. This is our second Gothic band, and it's called Linea Aspera, and the music is Malarone, I think is how you pronounce this. It's a bit of complicated. So this is actually a UK Gothic band formed in 2011. So what I'm going to talk about, a little bit of information, is what I found on Facebook from the band as well. And she says it describes an extremely personal experience, right down to the minute details of an archaeological trip to Uganda, in the form of those bizarrely referenced Swiss shrines. I didn't think anyone would care or understand, but the story is real. The feelings were real. Everything about this song is real. So in the context what we discussed about AI will never reproduce the emotions and the feelings of our experiences. There you go, guys. This could be more than fitting for now. Linea Aspera, Malarone. And that was Linea Aspera Malarone. I really hope you guys enjoy the song, or you're just dancing with the melody and the voice of the singer as well. So before actually Steve comes in, because he has to just make some fun things here on the website of a Dreamcatcher Radio here, I'm just going to give a little bit of... I have a question for him as well, regarding for the AI, because I think it's very interesting, because I think the AI subject is definitely something that we all should be careful about as artists. Oh, he's arriving, there you go. And I think we should all be careful of things are. But my question actually will be like this. Because I can be definitely useful in some ways. So let's say somebody has a lot of difficulty to learn things or to process things. Would you say that in this case AI is useful, Steve? Or do you think there could be another ways to people to learn? Or if we're going to use AI at all, the laws could be implemented?
It's very confusing, AI, for a number of reasons. One is you can never tell if it's real or not. And for that reason, I don't trust it, because they can simply mimic somebody's voice and make it sound like you've said something, which is completely untrue. And I think there's a place for it. I understand it, in science and stuff like that. I get that. But it does worry me what AI is actually doing, because it's not true. There's no emotion behind it at all. That's the thing you've got to realise about AI. It's got no feelings. It doesn't care. And it will just put out whatever it wants to put out, or whatever somebody wants to put out, with no emotion attached to it. And that's why I'm a bit nervous of it.
Yeah, it feels very lifeless when we see somebody just say, "Oh, I'm just going to type it on Chat." Well, I can't even pronounce what it is, but I think you get what I mean, which is ChatGPT or whatever it means, It's not the name. And it just really sad that people taking advantage of that in that way. And in fact, they've been in some cases when in YouTube, people have been exposed to use AI, and it's in their books.
That's it. Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You can do better. You can spend time. Yes, life is definitely busy, definitely.
Yeah.
And maybe because I believe also cost of living also can create that.
Yeah.
And I think it might be on purpose, because, and he's going to touch on this because of monetary, or actually, well, the things that for artists specifically, it makes them poor on purpose.
Yeah,
and he's going to touch on this, which I think is going to be very interesting.
I think you're touching on a very interesting point, for the simple reason, if there is AI involved in it, I think there should be some kind of legislation that says you have to say. I mean, we have to, by law, you've got to tell us what the ingredients in and on whatever you're buying. Do you know what I mean? So if I'm going to buy a book, I want to know it's been written heartfelt and it's gone through the whole process. I want to know if they've got a bit of AI in it, because if it has, I don't want to read it. I want to read a novel or, a factual book that has been written by somebody who's really put the effort into it, with no pretentiousness in it, because you can't trust it.
No, it's true nowadays, because people are very mistrustful of what's happening, and they cannot even know who guarantees me that the video games are being produced by real people, or the book, or even music. You mentioned music as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't know. So in this day and age, we should have laws that protects artists.
Yeah.
And I think if somebody steals anything from them, they should be paid back.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Because the time consuming, I'm going to tell you guys, is exhausting. And those who are listening to my show about writing literature and books and on Beyond the Cover, you have no idea, guys. The example I'm going to give, can you imagine you have to spend your entire hours to see, well, to check mostly, which paragraph from each page has been stolen, and then go to courts and go with law, and it's exhausting. It's unnecessary, really unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree, and particularly with music these days. I actually did, there was a thing on TikTok, I think it was, where you could change your voice to sound like, I'm not a bad singer, I'm quite a good singer, I've got a tenor voice. and I can do the things like bring him home and stuff like that. But I put this in, and all I simply did was I spoke into the microphone for about 10 seconds, then I said stop, then I put in the song I wanted, and I sounded like I was a really good professional singer. You know, I'm not a bad singer, but and I think there's a lot of that at the moment where AI is being used, and that's not art. That's not art.
No, it's not. They're just very lifeless. And I think people should be more aware and speak out loudly. And I think we should tell our Prime Minister, protect your artists because they're important to society.
They've never done it. They've never done it. They never
Of
support
course.
artists.
No, they never. We've
No.
seen it in this video. They never did.
Yeah.
And let's continue because there's more. At least more 3 points he's going to make. So let's keep listening.
The system keeps artists poor on purpose. There's a phrase that people love to say. If you love what you do, you'll never work for another day in your life. But I believe only a person with a great love of pain or a sadist could have coined this term. It sounds nice, but in reality, it's just a way to get people to accept low wages. Imagine telling a lawyer, you should be grateful that you get to defend people in court and uphold the law. You don't need money. You are defending people. You are a good man. Go, Mr. Lawyer, defend people out of the goodness of your heart. The lawyer laugh in your face, man. But musicians hear this every day. So do artists, writers, actors, anyone in the creative field hears this every day. You should be so grateful that you do what you love for a living. And I do think this is politics of envy. Just because you feel that it must be so much fun to make music or art as your profession and you don't love your job, so it's only obvious that you get paid while the artist struggles. It's so obvious. Rather than questioning yourself that why the hell are you doing a job that you don't love, your reasoning goes to, because I do a job I don't love, so a person who loves their job must suffer. It's a self-hating argument in my opinion, and I think you should really ask yourself why you spend most of your day doing something you don't want to at all. And when artists do try to make money, they run into the next problem, which is the gatekeepers. Record labels decide which musicians get funding, streaming algorithms decide who gets heard, gallery owners decide which art gets exposure, publishers decide which books get published. And in our current system, this funding is like a giant chokehold around your neck. Do what I, the patron or the corporate or the label wants, or we cut your work off. This is the template of what we want, and if you don't fit in, goodbye. See you. Thank you for coming. Next, please. That's why most mainstream art sounds and feels just like a McDonald's meal. A great investment, but a bad burger. And as artists, we aren't competing with each other. We're competing with the people who own the system. And 2025 is showing us the end game of these corporates. Make artists replaceable. AI can now generate music, write books, make paintings in mere seconds. If art is cheap, artists are worthless. And that's the game. Point 3.
Very good points the guys have made here.
Very, very good point. That, yeah, absolutely brilliant points. In as much as like, you know, yeah, he fed so much there. It was good, but he put it over in a very valid argument. You know, at the end of the day, they're being reduced to nothing, and yet they're the ones that are making other people lots of money. So.
Yeah, it just really said the reality that people think that human experience, emotions and feelings can be replaced by a machine, can be make other people's above the artist more richer, which should be actually the contrary. Yeah. Or if you're going to use money, you should probably balance the stuff between them two. Because at the end of the day, yes, people want to, well, I'm not saying make money, but at least be stable and monetary. But I think should be disciplined at least balancely between them.
But he made a very valid point, didn't he, about it's the tiers of payments.
Yep.
I read a very interesting article last week. I love Stranger Things. It was a really good series, and yet the young guy who only had a few things, it was paid something like $30,000. Okay, $30,000 is not to be sniffed at, but the person right at the very top, out of a crew of 12 of them, was paid $2.5 million per episode, and it's like, what? And again, it's all this, you know. Where is the fairness in it all? And before AI and everything else, there was no fairness. There was no. You were paying for a name, you were paying for a brand, And it doesn't necessarily mean they were the right person for the job either. So, but there you go. That's just me.
No, yes, no, it's true. I think it's been this for probably as well if the guy I've mentioned in this video, since the beginning of the existence. I'm not going to say political because it's a different completely story. Our ancestors was just very simple people in that time. But when artists starts to become, when society could see and experiment and have these feelings and emotions and listen to them and participate.
Yeah.
I think this one thing started to get a bit wrong as well.
Yeah, it does, and it's very interesting when you say you didn't want to start talking about governments and stuff. For now, it's very interesting that you've got all these these music companies and everything else. I mean, we see the talent shows and everything on TV, and they get exploited, and then the government jumps in, because as soon as that, and it's not all necessarily raw talents. They will jump in. They don't care, right? We want your taxes for this. We want this. We want that. And so they wait. They're like wolves waiting so they can get their little piece of it. And then the poor artists, the tail end of it, are still getting no better response. So.
Yes, and I think this is why then many people are starting to become independent or indie artists.
Yes.
Because they see there's no guarantee for me I'm going to be stable monetary with the big company that's being trusted on themselves.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, then people say, where are these good artists out there? In my show, I try to bring different artists because I could bring Iron Maiden, I could bring Sisters of Mercy, etc., etc., which is don't mind me, they are very good musicians. But right now, I think we need to bring artists that we don't really know, I never heard of. And this is why each episode, probably for those episodes which I interview writers and authors, again, indie authors people don't really know, never heard of, is for that same reason, because they need to be on the spot as well. They need recognition.
Yeah.
And with the recognition, we've got somebody that probably never met their audience, which they deserve to meet their audience. And at the end of the day, each book has people that are being interested to read. I know what I'm writing right now. It is on the weird fiction with some cosmology as well, which I know is not going to be for everybody. But my audience is going to love it. Because I bring these elements on my books, and I don't need everybody to like. I don't want that. That would be insane. They'll mean for me to stop being myself. And I don't want that. I think that's crazy and insane.
But that goes back to what we were saying before about what you're actually putting into what you're writing. You're writing it because of the passion for it. And if you're writing about something you haven't got a passion for, your readers will pick that up straight away. And so what they want is somebody who's, I was into science fantasy, Isaac Asimov, Michael Moorcock. They loved it with a passion. They loved writing science fantasy, and I loved reading it because they were given this story and they took you on this journey with them. But yeah, it's just the same old story, isn't it? Unless there's passion in it, there's no point in doing it.
No, yes, it's true. I think there's a bit of passion as well. And I truly believe that artists out there, there's so many probably we don't really know yet, that are still struggling and trying to make themselves visible. And I think as the video itself has said about algorithm, internet, that influences a lot. And to think that can say you are valuable or not is actually a sad reality, in my opinion. Very, very sad.
But the thing with artists these days, they're turning to social media to try and get a captive audience, and I don't blame them. There's some very many talented people out there, but the reluctance to actually go into mainstream recording agents and all that kind of stuff is because they're being exploited, and yet they're still being exploited by the social media that they're going on, because if they're being monetized, they're getting very little in return, and the social media platform is making a lot of money on them, and it's no wonder that they give it up. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm sick to death of trying to break through here, and that's why we're really keen here at Dreamcatcher Radio to try and promote as much as we can when it comes to unsigned artists, because there's loads out there that deserve that break. What we don't want them to do is fall into the pit of, like, we're going to make loads of money on you and we're going to pay you a pittance. We don't want that,
No, yes, and I have to agree that I would never imagine for years that I will have my own platform on a radio station of all places. Because I'm gonna say it again, I have wrote fan fiction before. I have tried to be visible. I have tried to say people look at these stories, but got not really much reaction. Maybe because I didn't know how to do it, which is fine, understandable. But it brought me really on a very dark place psychologically.
Yeah, I could imagine that. It's monopoly again, isn't it? It's monopoly from the printers and stuff, and the publishers. It's all about this monopoly stuff, isn't it?
Yes, because I mean, I was in Twitter before it became X on that time. So, and because people didn't follow me much, which is fair. But to think that just really says how much you value, no way, no, guys, don't fall for that. Don't think that you're going to be very rich. Just think, for myself, I think like this. I want my book to be out, and I want to improve on my craft, and the money will come in. I'm not expecting much at the first time because I'm just starting. And even if it comes more in the future, I want to use for something that is productive. For example, I'm not even going to pay, let's say, being exaggerated here, but I'm not going to live in a mansion. No, that is not my style. No. I prefer a cottage house with gardening, flowers. Yeah. It's more peaceful. It's better. It's my face at all. And be surrounded with creative people as well, because yes, I am of writers, but also would like to participate and be in a group with, for example, illustrators, voice actors, people that can bring stuff out. And I think in the group we could create our own things as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you got the support of others who are like-minded, you can pick up so much. I really enjoy your show because you're giving out hints and tips about what to do and how to be creative. And if you're in a group of like-minded people, somebody might say something like, oh, that's a really good idea. So yeah, I mean, the cooperation between writers is brilliant. It's just the old stuff of like publishers and whatever.
No, yes, and I'm very happy as well that I still remember my first episode of all, which is about fan fiction. I received a comment saying, you make me buy a book. I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's your journey. You go out there and, just now explore what you really like for the books out there. Indie and not indie as well. And to think also that many people are writing books. One person is writing a biography. That's amazing. This my show really I want the writers out there to not stay inside. Go out. I'm not to live in your room because you're going to need your isolation in the good time to write your stuff. But what I mean is, don't stay. I want to say this, but I think I don't know how to say another way. Don't stay in the closet. Come out outside of the closet. Yeah. Just break the closet and leave, because you need. Yes, I am an introvert as well myself, on the spectrum as well. But the important is get your story out. The society needs it. Do you think just because you're gonna write a dark romance where let's say a woman follows for a mafia guy, who cares? It's your story. Write about it. Doesn't matter. It's your story. I'm just giving an example, of course, but the writers need to be out there more and more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's that little bit of confidence, that push, isn't it? The self-belief in what you're trying to achieve. Yeah, go for it. Just go for it. I'd sooner people go for it and it didn't go anywhere than think, I wonder what would have happened if I'd have done that. Go for it and see where it goes. Don't be thinking down the line, I wish I'd have done it now because I don't know where it would have gone. So.
Yes, no, I completely agree. People should just try. Even if it goes anywhere, that's fine. You can start to see if you can do it by yourself. Self-publishing. Again, there's always options. Or there's also patrons out there on UK that can actually help you. And if you guys would like me, I can try to search for that as well. To see if you guys can, just start your journey as well. Because that's very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Important. And before we started to see another part of the video, now let's go to our second metal band for this week, and it's called Termina. And the song is called Wounded Masquerade. It's a very interesting title.
Very interesting title, yeah.
So this is a Canadian progressive metalcore, deathcore project that emerged in 2020. And according to one of the websites, the lyrics to Wounded Masquerade by Terminal, Nick, Nocturnal, and Noxus delves deep into themes of emotional turmoil and manipulation, presenting a haunting narrative of someone who embodies a facade of vulnerability while being intrinsically malicious. What an interesting
Wow.
story here. So,
Yeah, it is.
so
You can
yes.
feel that, yeah.
So here, I'm just going to read a little bit of lyrics. I think it's Japanese, singing this part. I think it thinks in English, but just in case, I'm going to sing this part. So, tree of knowledge, bearing the weight of the world, we learn to forget as we burn and regret. In this never-ending cycle of life and death, I am a soul denied, searching for a place to die. So guys, just enjoy Termina, Wounded Masquerade. And that was, guys, Terminal Wounded Masquerade. I really happy, guys, at least, we're enjoying, the artist screaming, rolling, whatever you want to call this. What matters is it's hard. And whatever the music you listen, remember that it's because your soul needs at the moment, and you are appreciating other people's talent as well. And you're also a consumer. We are all consumers of art. I read a lot. I also listen to music a lot, so I'm also a consumer myself. And let us remember that we need to support our artists more now than ever. Of course, be mindful with your monetary as well and that stuff. But let's just all appreciate how much music made by humans, not by the AI, made by humans, it's out there for us to see. Yes, this touches my soul. I need to listen to it right now because I'm being, let's say, I don't know, I'm not in a very good place in my life, so this song will help me, or it's going to help me face what I want to do. And now let's listen to the third part of not the video, because you guys have been noticed. Me and Steve will listen a little bit of the part of the video, and then we give our thoughts about it. And that's why we've been in agree with the YouTuber, because it's been measures very, very great points.
Yeah, do you know what, honestly, and what you've just been saying there, music speaks to us. It does speak to us, and a lot of people use it to go to when they're feeling a bit low or whatever. There's a song that'll cheer them up. And it's the same with literature. You'll read a book that you go, yeah, that's really helped me, that. And I think that's what it's all about. And so anything to do with literature or art or music, it speaks to the soul, as you said. And I mean, my particular one that I always think about is that the I Will Leave a Light On. The song, it always inspires me to think that I'm there and I can help somebody. Do you know what I mean? So there's always something in those words that make you go, yeah, I can do that. So
it's being present. I think there's being present on the moment to help others and also ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And now let's continue again with the YouTube video, Why Society Hates Artists and Always Has, by Fuzz Culture.
Society needs art but refuses to value it. Every major movement ever was fueled by art. Music fueled protests. Bob Dylan's songs became anthems for the civil rights movement. Films shaped public opinion. Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator mocked Hitler openly while the rest of the world was silent. Literature sparked revolutionary ideas. George Orwell's 1984 exposed authoritarianism decades before it became a warning sign. Artists don't just make things that are pretty and play in the background and keep your mood peppy. They are the originators of the ideas of tomorrow. They change minds, they challenge power, they expose corruption. These are ideas which dream up a reality that doesn't exist right now and may be implemented years later. These are the ideas that matter. That's why every authoritarian regime censors artists first. Do you want to know if you're living under an authoritarian regime? Just see if your government censors art. Straight away sign. The more repressive a system is, the more it fears art. And in democratic societies, they don't ban artists. They just make sure they can't survive. Government slash funding for the arts. School remove music and painting from the school curriculums. Companies refuse to pay fair wages for creative works done for them. And then they tell us, the artists, that we're not hustling hard enough or we have our head in the clouds. But here's the thing, without art, society collapses. Without music, art, architecture, there is no culture. Without writers, there's no history. Without painters, there's no beauty. When people look back at 2025, 200 years from now, they're not going to be going over your auditing books. They're not going to be studying your financial statements. They're not going to be see whether your company had a successful quarter. What will be remembered will be what did your buildings look like? How did people live? What were the writers thinking of? What did the song sound like? That's what they will refer to as being the culture of this time period, not the overinflated piece of real estate you just invested in. Number 4.
It was a very short, but I think was very, very important. When they mentioned the actually British author George Walton, I have the book 1985. It's a brilliant book, that it still nowadays reflects society. It feels like the guy saw the future, clearly the future. I really recommend you guys buy the book and read for yourselves, and then come back and tell me it does not reflect the society in others. I'm not really saying in Britain specifically, but the entire world. It's happening everywhere. We're being repressed. Our freedom is being shut down. Well, not shut down, but I mean like being engaged. And more than ever, women rights. People to come back to the old ages, like they want things to come back how it used to be, and not realizing that we need to progress, we need to improve. Yes, we have all these technologies which are good, but let's use it for our humanity, to help us more on society.
Yeah, you made a very interesting point there, didn't you, about even now that the curriculum in schools and everything is governed by the authorities. And it's they say you've got to read this, you can't read certain things, it won't allow you to read it, and this is the curriculum that they're giving you. So basically, they're choosing the literature we kind of can't read. And it was very interesting that you mentioned Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin was the biggest clown evermore, and without speaking, he can actually tell you a story with his body language. And that is the importance, again, of body language is important because we all read it. We all read into the songs. Some of them are just completely bleh, and I don't want to listen to them. Others speak to you, and that's the important word. It's how that language, or how they speak to us in their actions, or what they write on paper. And I think that's the important thing to the whole thing. You know what I mean? That's a very, very valid point. That, and I felt goosebumps when he said that.
No, yes, I didn't know that George Chaplin was directly criticized Hitler, and I think all of us should speak out when something is wrong. Of course, I would say some parts might be complex and need some reflection, but something is definitely wrong. So, for example, you cannot read this. Who says you can't? You should allow to read whatever you want. Nobody should tell you what you should read or should listen to any music. Nobody should tell you what you should listen to. It doesn't make sense for me. It's just somebody just trying to definitely restrict your freedom. It's just definitely trying to make like a sheep. You are someone that can control, that can manipulate, and that's good for them. Because it's very convenient.
And that's exactly what George Orwell was saying, wasn't it? In 1984,
Yeah.
I mean, I had to read that, funnily enough, as part of my O levels when I was in school, and it absolutely fascinated me that the manipulation in it and everything else, as you quite rightly said. And even today, if you read it today, you'd think he was talking about what society is today. It's brilliantly done. Orwell was an amazing guy, and he put it down so well. So.
Also, I think from the same guy, I think another book, he didn't mention in the two video, but one book I actually have with me, it's called Animals Farm as well.
Animal Farm was brilliant. Animal Farm was absolutely, yeah. And there were quite a few from that era that came out, which were quite controversial.
Oh yes, Fahrenheit. I want to read the book as well, but I think it's about a guy that has to burn books. The Fahrenheit from the same author.
Oh right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I may not have read that one because but yeah, there was quite a lot of truth in what they were saying then to what we relate to now. So
yeah, as like I said, I think the guy was just not just saying many, because guys, George Orwell was not the only one that the books were controversial. There's many of them as well. Many of them were controversial. And will shake society, because society needs to be shaken, needs to say, look, this is not right. We need to improve this because this doesn't look right.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think of someone, I mean, A Christmas Carol, for example, that it's a well-known movie. Everybody loves reading it because there's a storyline to it. It was very, very controversial in as much as it was quite religious. And it was expressing the religious freedom of, because obviously there was oppression coming with religious freedom and all that kind of stuff. So when you think about it, like Dickens, Charles Dickens, Orwell, all the rest of them, it was a precursor for what was to come. And yet we can still read it today, and it's still coming. It's really weird.
Yes, this is why I think some books will be considered classics, because it's these little things that people do, again, society doesn't understand white writers. It seems like sometimes writers are ahead of time. And I think society doesn't really understand that. And for example, again, I'm going to bring again the dark romance genre of romance specifically. Yeah, it implements really dark elements like unhealthy relationships and probably abuse, because they have to discuss about that. But if you think about nowadays, it's happening. As we are discussing right now, it's happening. Men and women both are going to abuse as we speak right now. And I think these books are important in a context that brings that image what really abuse really looks like. Now, if the main character is going to have a happy ending or not, I'll leave that to the writer. It's not my place to judge the writer. But if people probably will buy these books and say, this is a fiction, however, it brings elements that can make me reflect on abuse, how the abusive relationships is, gaslighting, etc. And let's not probably talk about sexual assault as well, which can bring those as well very, very front, because they can, again, dark romance. I'm going to play this as well. It can just be a reflection.
It is, and I mean, there's one particular series I can think of straight away. It begins with 50. Let's not go any further.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that became so popular, not because of what it was trying to say about the sexual manipulation. It was because it was an erotic book and everybody was talking about it. And that's what the publishers sold. They didn't sell it as a sexual exploitation. They sold it, quite frankly, as a book that, you shouldn't really be reading that, you know what I mean? And that's how they sold it. So the message was completely missed. But the sexual exploitation, they used themselves to exploit the reader for them to buy it. It's crazy.
No, yes, it's crazy. I mean, I think the book, as a narrative perspective, it could be so interesting, because I also wrote myself some BDSM themes as well on my writing. And the most of part, people do not understand how these relationships requires trust, requires consent, a lot of consent, because when you're going to say, I want this to do this to me, you are authorizing other person to do this to you. And in BDSM, usually is pain and pleasure together.
Yeah.
And if your book, of course, if you're writing a book, let's say you're not interested in this, it's more about the sex itself, fine, go for it. You are the writer, you are you. But if you're going to write that, but also bring these elements, again, the research comes in. And more times than ever, and I've seen on the internet, many BDSM practitioners didn't like the book because of that. It was not the faithful representation of what BDSM actually is, the relationships.
Yeah. Well, there's the other one, wasn't it, from the 1930s? It was the postman always knocks twice. And there was quite a very graphic scene about the postman and the woman from the house, being unfaithful, basically.
Yeah.
And it was only because of that it became a huge hit. Do you know what I mean? And again, it was the exploitation from the publishers, because they were pushing the boundaries and they were selling the books. They were making the money on it. The story was completely missed because of that one particular part. It's really strange how it gets exploited.
Yes, as you can see, guys, we're talking about exploitation. It started from the dark romance, as I mentioned, but can you see how companies exploit us as artists?
Yeah.
It's not because the message, it's because, yes, sex sells because it sells. This is true. But imagine if 50 Shades of Grey would be, this is a story about an healthy relationship that the both characters have to work out together. And then saying, okay, yes, we definitely need to just see what we want, etc. It could be a process. It could actually, many who are in BDSM community feel connected, saying, yes, I'm being in this messy journey as well, but I see the characters, I'm coming, healthy and having this discussion between them, etc.
But for me, that immediately says to me that the publishers, not all, I'm not, there are plenty of publishers out there, but the ones who are pushing that kind of literature, they've got no morals. The moral is, let's make money.
Yeah.
And they don't care about the writer, they don't care about the content, because there's a certain part of it that they know that they can exploit and advertise it and get loads of books sold. I mean, they've even done it. They've done it. That particular one I mentioned. They've done movies about it. It's on the theatre. You know, they've certainly exploited it to the best they possibly can. So some of them have got absolutely no morals whatsoever, and they will exploit anybody to get what they want. So, and I think that's really sad.
So on that part, Steve, you mentioned about not having morals. I think that also has, let's say, room for that as well. Because I think it has to exist a balance of no morals and morals, I think, in art. Because art has to explore the human nature. Because maybe if we don't know what actually is bad morals, we might think it is good morals. So I think it has to have this balance between...
But that's precisely the point, because what I'm saying is that the writer of those particular books may have had a moral intent to talk about what was moral, what was immoral, and bring it forward. Okay, it was fiction, but the thing is that the author's intent was completely different to the way it was advertised. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
And it's like they've exploited the writer and used it to their advantage.
Well, in that regard, I will say the writer did something that I personally think it should not be done.
Yeah.
So because I've written fan fiction, and fan fiction usually is just a piece of writing that fans do, but just for fun, not to get not very serious. Some writers come from fan fiction, which is a very interesting fact because it does. It's just to say, look, I like this fandom, I just like the things I've done, and I'm just going to write about it. That's it. And then explore billions and billions of ideas. That's fine. But what this artist did was she saw a fan fiction online. They took the story and then published a book, basically. For me, that's a little bit controversial topic because, yes, she can definitely, someone can be inspired by something, can be a fan fiction, who knows. But then, just to have the exact same story but just different names, for me, it's a bit, for me, it's not okay because, again, the rights and also the, I don't know to explain this, but for me, it feels not feels okay. Because, again, if the writer had an intention to write a BDSM relationship, she should have done the research, and not things are done, and not things are involved in the relationship. And because she haven't done that, but she copied the story for the fan fiction part, it came out the way it did, and she changed the names.
Yeah.
And now she's popular because it's an article, so basically.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And plagiarism, it happens all the time, unfortunately, but, and I get that as part of being a writer, you know, and being an artist or whatever. But sometimes it's extremely unfair, so.
No, it isn't fair, yes. And so now, before we actually going to listen to the last minute of the video, really, guys, this is going to be for 2 hours. This is my time doing a full 2-hour episode. So I hope you guys have been just listening all this time and, who knows, make up your own conclusions. Remember that my shows are not to tell you what to think, but make you discussion. Now, this is going to be the first time I do this stuff like this with somebody, in this case, with our manager, Little Steve. And also want to know how else we do my show as well. So this will be a good opportunity. And just have an opinion. I don't want you to think the same as me. If you have a different opinion, great. It means that you can think for yourself, and I think that's very important. And now let's see our third gothic band, which is called Ashtray Knit. And the music is Ashtray Ballet. Very interesting name again, Ashtray Ballet. Ashtray
Very
Ballet.
interesting, yeah.
Yes. This actually comes as very interesting
Ashtray Ballet.
title.
I've got loads of images in my head about that.
Oh, dear, bless you. So, this is American Gothic band formed in 2007. It's been quite a while now. So, according to the website, it transcends traditional genres, showcasing 19th laced alternative music with elements of dark wave and glam. So, guys, further ado, Ashtray Night, Ashtray Ballet.
enjoy the ending. Hold me now once more. Pictures bleeding all around my world. Now I lie with someone else's dead. How I try. You meant so much more than that. Do you forgive me for the things I never did for you? I shall not blinking thousand words never meant
And we just listened to Ashtray Knit, Ashtray Ballet. Interesting title again. I hope you guys enjoyed and you're just vibing this song. And we have 30 minutes now. It's coming to almost the end of my show. And I want to thank everybody to listen thus far. And stay with me and Steve on this journey of listening to a YouTuber talking about why the Society 8 artists and holidays has, which is a very interesting title. And we started from that as discussion. And I was thinking for myself that I'm doing this right now. And why not bring other presenters and talk with them as well as I'm doing with Steve? Because it would be interesting to be, for example, with Carl and with Kim and Carl, and talking about the mental health of an artist. Because if we have seen thus far, artists has to put a lot of effort, a lot of their soul into something that to be recognized. And sometimes, and Stephen mentioned, in the past, many actors and actresses are on the streets because they have to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, probably they are on drugs. And why this relationship of arts and mental health? Or for example, bring also, let's see in the website here, because I was thinking about this even before starting my show, because I think it would be very interesting to invite the presenters and talk with them. Lisa King, which is more about being apologetic you, and how artists, by their art, show about themselves.
Do you know what? That's absolutely true. I've met an artist on TikTok who has the most amazing voice, and without a shadow of a doubt would make it in the industry right now. But she suffers from severe anxiety. She can't go out the house, but she can record at home. And yet, because she won't be this little model that goes around and doing what they say, this is your schedule, you're going to go and sing in this big arena, and she wouldn't be able to do that. And yet, so we're missing out on a brilliant artist because of the way they exploit the artists. And I mean, I won't use her name, obviously, but oh my days, has she got an amazing voice. And she sings like you're listening to a professional record. And there is an artist who can't move any further because of mental health issues, because she knows she's going to be exploited by them to do whatever they want her to do. So, and that's sad. That's really sad.
No, that's really sad, and to think that many artists out there, and even those who are still here and writing the stories, singing and composing, acting on theatre, on cinema. Yeah, I think there must be some connection, and I would love to Kim and Carl to come with me on my show and actually discuss about this.
Yeah,
I think it would be
good.
just a very interesting topic. How artists and mental health are just in some way connected, and how we have this need to tell something to the world, but then again they don't receive us back, and why, and how we could do to improve the both sides, and more in a sense of for artists to have the space to breathe and say, okay, today I'm just going not to do nothing. I'm just going to do little things, but not connected with my art. I'm going to have a little of a break. And also, because of organ internet and algorithm as well, our artists and those who connect with their work could interact with each other. And with this comes the recognition.
Well, I mean, there's a classic example of a singer, isn't there? What happens is they create your character for you. It's not about who you were when you were singing. They create this persona for you, and you have to abide by it. And I think the classic example there is Susan Boyle. If you think about Susan Boyle, I mean, her nerves were dreadful. She suffered from all kinds of mental health issues, and it wasn't until the point that they actually said, "Hang on a minute, we've got to stop doing this because this is an amazing artist," that they gave her the support. But that was only because, at the end of the day, they were going to exploit it and make loads of money out of it. And they realised, we've got to be careful. But it still goes on. It doesn't matter about your mental health. There's many artists, there's many authors who have had their own persona, and they've completely changed who that person was to make it a puppet, basically, of how they can control them. And that's not right. And, there's loads of different artists I can think about that were exploited, and some of them died because of it, and it's really sad.
Yeah, so Killam Carl and Lisa as well, if you'd be interested to come to my show and talk about the stuff, of course, on the writers, I'll be very, very pleased to collaborate with you one day, because I think this is so interesting topics. Mental health on artists, the apologetic you being yourself, how much as you trying to be yourself out there, people still think you should have some of a persona, how you have to mask, and this on autistic people is absolutely one of the characteristics. Because it's so exhausting. It's people just don't realize how exhausting it is for autistic people to mask and trying to be themselves, try to fit in, which is the end of the day is fitting in.
Yeah, that would be a very, very interesting conversation to have with them. Very interesting.
So see, have a Steve approved.
Absolutely. I think that would be really good. And I think, I mean, what you're portraying today is absolutely brilliant, and it's actually helping those budding artists and writers and everything else. And if they're aware of how the pressure of what they put on you affects your mental health, and you can discuss that with professionals, because that's what we've got, professionals, that would be amazing, and that would be an amazing help for them as well when they're being creative. Yeah.
And now we're going to just listen to the last bit of the YouTube, think about their opinions about it, and then let's see what happens next.
Yeah.
So let's go.
The only way forward. The truth is, the system isn't going to change on its own. Art is enjoyed in retrospect more than in real time. We don't really see artists as human beings, we see them as characters. So we're never really close to one, and we wouldn't want to be. But there are ways to fight back for us artists, and hope that terrible double-edged sword keeps pushing us through, even when probability isn't on our side. But that's what it is. The internet age may have buried us under so much content that we literally don't know what to see anymore. But underneath this avalanche, there is a ray of light. For the first time in history, you can literally do anything you want to and find someone on this planet who connects with you on the same subject. Direct communication with people who want to hear your voice is possible for the first time in human history. And as artists, thinkers, creative people, maybe that's all we need to do. Keep talking and find the people who listen. Crowdfunding, Patreon, Bandcamp, direct sales. Patronage from the people who actually want to consume your art and not from the powers who want to mold it. Because let's be honest, large corporations and big money own everything. And the only way forward for people like us is to communicate and build a relationship with the people who care about what we do.
And that was the end of the YouTube video, Why Society Hates Artists and All It Has, by, let's see now, the First Culture. I think it was a very interesting video. I put this today for us to discuss.
Do you know what? I think, I mean, I love your show anyway, and I think every show that you do is really, really good. But this has really hit on something. And the video that you played and the recording of it is really, really good. And he's basically saying everything we've been discussing. And I love it. This is a really, really important for budding writers. So, yeah, well done on that. Cracking show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Steve. Yes. And I have to agree. Yes, I think we writers have to find people that can generally help us to push us out there and be out there, because in its own is a very competitive area, because it is. But remember, you are only competing against yourself to what's coming for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not with other artists. Forget about them. You can read the books as you want, but think about the story that you want to build, the story that you want to tell to the world. Don't ever think about if it is original. Again, what is original nowadays? That's another question I'm going to give you to the air, to the people who are listening. Just think, I have this story to tell and I'm going to write about it. That's it. And then, when you think it's ready, start to search about publishers or go indie. Up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do, because I think this should be another aspect as a writer that you should think about. I'm not living your life. I don't know who you are. You're just listening to me, which is very good. I'm very appreciated. But I think, yes, guys, just give a thought. And remember that we push forward society. Never think just because your book is not out there yet, you're not a writer. You are a writer. Remember this. Each single day, when you get up from bed and you start writing your book, even if it's 500 pages, 500 pages, no, I'm sorry, 500 words is a bit too much. 500 pages is too much. I mean, 500 words. It's enough. It's what you can do at the moment. Because you are already exposing yourself. You're already showing up to the world. But the world doesn't see, because you are in your room. You are alone. You are by yourself. And that alone tells me a lot about you, and for me as well as a writer.
Well, it's very interesting what you said earlier on in the programme about maybe being together in the same, with other writers and working together and picking up ideas. I've always used an analogy. Forgive me, I used to be a vicar once. Like you can be, you can be a log, you can burn, and you can give off a little bit of heat for a while. But if you're on your own, it's just going to burn out. If you're with other logs, i.e., other writers, and you create this flame, the flame keeps going. And the inspiration's always there, the ideas are always there, and it just keeps burning. So, yeah, I think the isolation is an important issue as well.
Yeah, the thing is, for writers, from my experience, according to Steve, is that as writers, when we need to focus on the work, definitely this goes to every single artist out there. We need the isolation, please, just to put ideas out there.
I get that.
But then, after that, yes, we need to go out there and say, hey, can you help me? I need an idea because I'm stuck on this scene. What should I do? And then, yes, other artists come to help you. Yes, your mean is feedback. Yes, definitely, yes, we need.
Hopefully that's what I got over. I completely agree with that. Yeah, you do need that time to be alone so you can be creative. But you also need that time when you be with like-minded people as well who can give you words of encouragement, because that's how things change. You might change your tack on what you're writing because somebody else has given you some kind of inspiration. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so guys, this is basically much the video I wanted to bring for today's episode. It's been a lot of minutes now. We've talked about for 2 hours.
Have we?
Yes.
Really? Oh, good grief.
My first time also talking for 2 hours, just like this. Of course, with some sometimes just stop a little bit because of music, which kind of helps as well. And honestly, Steve, I want to thank you so much for coming to my show and to just give your opinion on this. And you were the one who actually asked to come and to see how I was doing as well.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was your own idea, actually.
No, I had no idea what the content was going to be, but it's been very stimulating. So I've really enjoyed being on it. So thank you for that opportunity. Just carry on doing what you're doing, because you really are a great inspiration for other writers as well. So, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you so much, Steve. And now, because we still have some time, we're going to listen to our third last Gothic band for this week. It is relatively new. They actually is called Ginger. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's a bit.
It looks like Ginger. Yeah.
Ginger, yeah. And the music is called Pisces. This is an Ukrainian metalcore band from Tastek, formed in 2008. So this is coming from a website about, because I always try to bring the meaning of the music when it's something that I know the writers are going to scream loud, etc., etc. So for this, it says on YouTube that the romantic poets and Ginger Spices. It's a meaning of duality and human tragedy. And Jesus Spices, meaning heavily resolves around duality, particularly hinting at duality of human existence. Humans have to deal with forms of duality every moment of every hour. Our entire existence resolves around oppositions. Can there be life without death? Can there be beauty without ugliness? Or even more importantly, can there be a way to resolve such predicaments? And so with this, I'm going to just read a little passage from one of the parts of the songs, because again, the singer is going to scream a lot. So it says, scale armor blaze, virgin innocence. One being brings life, another runs death. So guys, Ginger Pisces.
Be a friend of mine.
And there you have it, guys. It was Ginger Pisces. I hope you really enjoyed the song and, just really vibing and just being yourself mostly. Even with this metal music and gothic being listened for 2 hours. Yes, 2 hours. Can you imagine for 2 hours? Usually it would be 1 hour, now pass for 1:30, and now 2 hours, 2 hours. Even now Steve is here laughing here inside us.
It's been really good. It's been really good. And I love the music as well, because I actually like a band called Who. And I've mentioned them to you before in the past. So, yeah, I enjoy listening to that kind of music as well. So it's been a great show.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, I've just 10 minutes left for the show. I want to thank everybody for listening to me. And also, just listen to me and Steve just discussing about society doesn't really much like artists. And what I will say, whatever your opinions are on this specifically, just please, just don't be afraid to say your opinion. I think the important is when society understands that we can work in a way to balance, to be heard, to be ourselves, is I think once society grows and expands and becomes whole, it heals itself. Because right now things are very chaotic for everybody, not just for us, but literally for everybody. Imagine, guys, for professors, and you probably just listen to Marsha one night interviewing a professor that also he's on TikTok, that he has a family, he has children, and he's writing books for children and for adults. It's a lot for that person as well, and also for the people on the NHS as well. Imagine the stress they go through as well. So it doesn't mean just us artists, but it's for everybody in general. I think it goes to the stressful situation, people losing jobs, and it's just very chaotic. But remember that you artists, writers, you can move forward society, and we move forward society. Because remember, George Orwell as well, 1984, he actually, for his entire book, he visualized what will happen. And again, I'll encourage everybody to read this book because it's absolutely fantastic. The ending of that book is terrifying, really, really terrifying.
Absolutely, it is. It is. It's well worth a read, though. It's well worth a read. And again, it's like you say, it doesn't matter when you read it. Since it was written, it still speaks today. So, yeah, read it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and again, we bring what's happening right now in the society. Whatever the topic you want to discuss, right, just go for it. Don't hide in your room. Go out and let the people know your story. My story revolves. Cosmic beings have to embrace their shadow to be enlightened. That's pretty much the thing. What this means to society, embrace your stuff that you hide from society. Recognize you have that, and you become yourself. Basically, what the story is about. But of course, it's in the cosmic beings, more higher beings than us out there. They're still struggle as well. They're not just humans.
Yeah, and it's a very key issue that just be yourself, because at the end of the day, the consumers want you to be yourself. They want to know what you've written. They want to know what your talent and your gift is, and they don't want it to be manipulated by something else. Be yourself and write as yourself, even if you have a pseudonym, but you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's what the consumers want to read.
So you can see, guys, even Steve agrees. Just be out there, be you. Don't let big companies tell you what to do. If you try to do that, say immediately, no. And if you think they're trying to get more money than you, say no as well. Defend yourself. And because of AI, be mindful how they're going to approach that. Be very, very careful, because you have to protect yourself. I'm going to say it again as somebody that I was on a lecture on my university. She recommended everybody to put the symbol of the copyright every single page.
That's right, I've heard that.
Do that as a protection. You will need in the future, because as the AI is spreading right now, it's ridiculous. It is why writers, artists, musicians, actors and actresses, and screenwriters. Well, remember, guys, when the screenwriter come, because of Disney, remember the backlash. There you go. And now Disney is going to embrace AI.
Yeah.
They're going to embrace it. So now remember that everything you're going to see now is going to be by AI. It's not going to be by people, talented people. Forget about that. Doesn't want it anymore. But again, you have the power to vote with your money. So it's up to you guys.
Yeah, and I think that it's very interesting. Copyright is very important as well. So as soon as you start writing something, even if you've only got like 500 words, make sure that you've got a copyright on it, and just put on the front of it. It's very simple. Covered by copyright. That this edition and future additions to it, and then it becomes your copyright. Then I know it's difficult to argue in a court of law because you have to get an official copyright. But the simple thing you do for the copyright is you put it in a bundle, you send it to yourself, and once you've received it, do it recorded delivery. Once you've received that, the copyright stands as a legal entity. So.
Yes, that's how it is. Yeah. Again, the laws have to be made to protect. Definitely, laws are needed.
Yeah.
But then, when laws, and especially again the people behind it don't really understand, is when somebody creates something, they take their time and effort, and that needs to be said.
Yeah.
So, Steve, I want to thank you so much for coming to my show. It's really a pleasure to come here with you. Really nice to talk
it's
with
been
you
a great
as well.
show. I've loved it. I've loved it because I've got a huge interest in literature anyway. So I've really enjoyed it.
So would you like to say anything else? I think we've got 7, 8, 9, 4 minutes, I think, left. Would you say something as extra?
And I would just encourage people to listen in, and don't forget, this does get replayed as well. So if you've missed something, there will be a replay. I think it's at the moment it's a Thursday and a Sunday of them.
I
think it's a Thursday and a Sunday, but also you'll find it on YouTube as well. So there's lots of hints, lots of tips. Andreia's done some really amazing shows, and they're all going to be on there. So just take a look and have a listen in. You might pick up something, which is what Andreia was saying before about not being isolated on your own unless you're being creative, and go and listen in, because you'll be listening with many other budding authors as well. So you get something from it, and we're really grateful that you give us the time to produce this show. So yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome so much. You're very, very welcome. I really like to do this show just to inspire other artists to come out and just put the art out there, because society definitely desperately needs our art and needs our souls out there.
Yeah.
And I want to say as well that...
Sorry, my last word was when you said, as soon as you get up from your bed and you've written 500 words, you are a writer. So you don't have to wait until somebody publishes something. If you're writing it, you're a writer.
Exactly, because, guys, you just get up of your bed, you do your thing, and then you start writing. You're already a writer. Don't bother. Yes, you haven't published yet. So what? It's your process, it's your journey, and if you feel a little bit alone, just go to the Discord channel and find writing channels. Or if you want, I can tell you writing channels which I am in. Some will only be on the adult part, so be mindful of that as well. But you might find people that be interested in your story and could help you, or even me if I'll be there, if I find you there. Who knows? Because at the moment I am giving feedback on other people's writing, and that also increases my editing process as well. And also just to give a little bit of announcement as well. On the next week, I'm going to interview another TikTok author. I think he's an indie author as well. So it's going to be another pre-recorded show until maybe you're going to find somebody in the future. Maybe Steve, or you can do a live, interviews. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's what we're about at Dreamcatcher Radio. Do you know what I mean? We help each other out, and we try and help artists and writers and anybody else out as well.
So guys, it's just me a little bit of seconds, really, really tiny whereby, but again, just thank you so much for sticking out, just listening to me and little Steve as well on these that the society hates artists and always has. I think it was a very amazing video, and please guys, You can also go to YouTube and listen to that. When you keep to remind yourself that despite you're not something out yet, just remind yourself, I'm in my process. I am on my artist career, and I need time. I need the things to put things out with my soul and my